Just so you guys know, also, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 girls. My stepdaughter is 11, and I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I get to be with them all the time, which makes me super, super happy. And I do this when I want to, and it's just the right, perfect amount, and it's just how I want it to be. So I tell you these things because I have a tendency to like pre-screen people whose books I read and people whose advice I take to make sure they have what I want. So I'm not somebody who has like pursued a CEO corporate life. That hasn't been for me. And since day one, I've known that that wasn't for me. But I can tell you that I have plenty of money and I have plenty of happiness. And I work when I want to, and I don't when I don't want to. And all of it has ended up working out for me just the way I wanted it to. And I've been doing this for about 6 years. That's the other thing. So, and I still consider myself to be a student. You never know it all. And that's a really important thing also. You're never done with this. So keep that in mind moving forward. So what is energy? First of all, let me just say too that I want this to really be an open forum. So if you come up with questions as we go along, just raise your hand and we'll just hit them like that. I did bring an outline so that I don't get too off topic because there are a few things that I want to make sure I say, but I'm a coach and you guys are here to get my advice. So stop me if you have anything that needs clarified. And then we'll open it up for more questions at the end as well. So have you guys studied law of attraction? How many of you are familiar with it a little bit? Most of you have probably heard of it at the very least and understand that it's something that you want to apply to your life in several different ways. So from an energy standpoint, we know that everything is made up of energy. We learned that in science class. So the table is made up of energy, and Jess is made up of energy in this building. And an important lesson that I don't think is taught enough with law of attraction material is that our thoughts, our beliefs, and our values are all made up of energy as well. Quantifiable energy. It's measurable and it exists, and this is not coming from me or an opinion. This is actual science. This is Einstein. This is documented. So, and I don't know why more people don't know that, but then there's a book called The Secret, and then you're like, oh, that's why it's called The Secret. But that's the secret. So for you to understand law of attraction, you have to understand that not only are the things that you're trying to manifest made out of energy in some cases, whether that's a new car, a new house, or happiness, or a new relationship, or whatever the case may be for you, money, or just freedom. Those things are all made up of energy, but your thoughts that are made up of energy are what are going to manifest that back to you. So that being said, let's see, so I don't skip around too much. Law of attraction. So all of our energy is vibrating. Everything is vibrating and moving. And every piece of energy has a different frequency that they vibrate at. And this is what we learn in science class. So the vibration of that chair is a lot different than the vibration of my soul, obviously. And typically, your own vibration, which is something that I would pick up on if I was reading you, or reading your aura, is higher if you're happy, and it's lower if you're sad. Typically, that's what we usually see. So if you're trying to attract happiness, in general, to manifest the things that most people want in your life, you're going to try to raise your vibration. So you're going to hear me use words like vibration, frequency, energy as we move forward. And I just want you to understand what those words mean so that you're not like, wait a second, what is she talking about? So stop me again if you need some clarification, but that's kind of what we're talking about there. Okay, so law of attraction in a basic language states that which is like unto itself is drawn. That which is like unto itself is drawn. Like attracts like. Okay, so if you have 2 molecules of water and they're very close to each other, they'll kind of ping together, right? And if you are putting out with your brain, and your brain is a transmitter and a receiver. This is the other thing that you have to kind of understand. And I don't think that this is explained as well either. So when I'm doing mediumship and I'm talking to people's departed loved ones, my brain is being a receiver of those messages. I'm interpreting that message and that energy. I'm tuning into that frequency. I'm spinning my radio dial so that I can listen to whatever frequency it's trying to communicate, and I am receiving that message with my brain. And every thought you have is transmitting it. You're putting it out into the universe with your brain. And this is, again, this is stuff that you can see on an MRI. You can see this on a CT scan. It's just basic science. So that being said, that which is like unto itself is drawn. So when you are thinking thoughts, you are transmitting a vibration. You're putting it out into the universe. And whatever it is you're thinking about, you're going to get back. That is what the law of attraction is. This is a law. Gravity. If I walk off this building, I'm going to hit the ground, right? Law of attraction is working whether you believe my words or not. It's a law. This is a universal law. This is, I mean, Newton or whoever jumped in the bathtub and then the water came out, water displacement, you know, things like that. These are laws. These are facts. Law of attraction is one of those, okay? So this is not a philosophy. This is not a religion. This isn't something that you have to believe in to have it work. And I'm here to tell you too, which a lot of people are afraid to say, but I'm not, that every single thing you have in your life and every experience that you have experienced, you have created. Good, bad, victim, not a victim, you played a part in that with your vibration. And sometimes that hurts people to hear because personal responsibility is a hard thing to accept. And you think about terrible tragedies that happen and terrible, terrible, terrible things. People who are sick, people who get beat up or worse or whatever the case, killed. And you think, how did they ever possibly manifest that? Well, they didn't know what I'm about to tell you. They didn't know that their thoughts were creating what's happening to them. So it's not like they chose it. And I'm not out there being a victim blaming, evil, malicious person. I just want to equip you and arm you with that knowledge because for the rest of your life, what you think about is going to be what you attract. And you can either use that to your advantage or you can be a victim. I personally think that that's empowering. I like to choose what happens to me. And I like to have that option. And the minute I let it slip, bad things happen too. And it happens to me. I just got nailed by a drunk driver a couple weeks ago because I was stinking thinking is what I call it. I was like just wallowing and I just fell into my feelings. And it happens fast sometimes. But I think a lot of people are kind of familiar with like when it rains, it pours. So when one bad thing happens, you start to think about that bad thing, and then you walk around the corner and stub your toe. And then you walk outside and it's raining and your hair gets ruined. And then you get a flat tire on the way to work. And isn't that just how it happens? But you can flip it all around and make it happen for the good too. It's up to you. That's all your decision. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about here. Okay. I'm going to give you an example too. I'm going to kind of scatter some of my personal experiences into this also because I think that makes it more real. Good, bad, and different. This is just what's happened to me. I would love to share with you some of the things that have happened to my clients, but I signed paperwork that says that I won't. So I won't be doing that. So there is a author and person named Louise Hay that most of you are probably familiar with. She's a personal development author, and she just passed away actually a couple years ago, or last year or the year before, which was like so sad for me. She was so awesome. She has a book called You Can Heal Yourself. But her whole thing, she talks about how different medical conditions oftentimes have some type of emotional handhold with each other. For example, a child whose parents are smothering him, because he feels like he can't breathe. That's her whole thing. So she's awesome. You can check her out. Hay House is the name of the publishing company that published one of my mentors, and a few other really awesome people, Doreen Burke too. A lot of great law of attraction information there, so that's a good place to look. So she has this whole thing with the medical life, and this actually kind of played out in my life. I was in a bad relationship for a while. After my mom and my boyfriend passed away, I was obviously feeling very lonely and kind of down and whatever. So what I manifested with that loneliness was another relationship with somebody who wasn't there. He was in the military and he deployed. And I felt like I just wanted somebody there all the time and wanted him there all the time because he was deployed and I missed him so much. And then he came back and he was totally smothering me. And he looked through my phone all the time and didn't let me do anything and was so overbearing and aggressive and scary. It made me feel like I couldn't breathe. I had a baby with him and I got married and we moved across the country, so I felt like I had to stay, and I was just losing my mind and spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. And I got pneumonia. My body tried to kill me, guys. I filled up, I had 60 pounds of fluid in my lungs. Yeah, I still have a scar. I have several scars. But I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I felt like I didn't know what to do. And I just wanted to lay down sometimes. And it ended up putting me in a coma. And I really couldn't breathe. And I felt like I didn't have an inner voice in that relationship. And then I had a trach and I actually literally couldn't speak. So that's how you can manifest with your thoughts. Okay, that's a bad example of me not taking enough personal responsibility for my situation. So I woke up from my coma and decided to get a grip and pull it together, and it's a decision. And I didn't sit there for a second and say, poor me, look at all the things that happened to me, because I understood I had been a student of energy at that point in my life, and I knew exactly how I had manifested that. So I just kicked my own butt into gear, and I got divorced, and I got on my way. And here I am now, and everything worked out. I think that there's like an illusion that some of these people who talk about law of attraction never have any slip-ups or never have any problems. And it's easy. I mean, you're watching the news, you're on Facebook, you're hearing about mass shootings, and it's easy to let that stuff creep into your mind, and it affects you. So you can be really, really picky about what you let into your head. And that's another trick. I'm deleting my Facebook again, just because it has been physically debilitating to me, just with the recent news.
I've had such a bad week, and like I realized that was why. Because even if when I'm not like looking for it, it's just there. And I was like, I've been deleting the app during the day and just like checking it for Arbonne purposes. And
right.
Because it's too much.
It's too much. It's too much. So I'm deleting mine tonight. Actually, I wanted to have this because I wanted to post about it. But yeah, so it's hard to kind of filter things out, but you can be picky enough, and you can there are, monks somewhere that have, awesome existences, and there are people that are really, really, really happy. I'm really, really, really happy. I have almost everything that I could ever ask for in my life, and the things that I don't have now are coming, and that's 100% the truth. So yes, so that was my experience. So what are you trying to manifest? That's your homework. You guys got to figure out what it is you want. And here's the kicker. Don't write down on your paper, I don't want to gain any more weight. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be in a bad relationship. That's not what you want. That's what you don't want. And when you think about what you don't want, then your focus, your thought is on what you don't want. The universe doesn't hear the word don't. The universe is picking up on the frequency of that thought, and the frequency is whatever you're putting that attention on. You have to think about what you want. And my fiance and I will oftentimes look at each other and say, okay, but what do you want? Because he'll come home from work and I'm, this and this or whatever, or vice versa. And I'm like, okay, stop. Like, tell me what you do want. Don't tell me all the things that went wrong today. And we have, especially kind of as women, we have a tendency to meet each other at a common ground of like misery. I don't know why we do that. Why do we do that? We see somebody in the grocery store and we're like, how are you? Well, my kids are sick and I wrecked my car and this and that, the weather's rainy again. Why are we doing that? Don't say that. Say, I'm phenomenal, because you're writing the script for your life. The more you say, well, my kids have ear infections and this and that, the more you're going to vibrate that and the more you're going to get it back. And I think it's important also to note that there's something called co-creation too, which is anything that you're manifesting that involves another person. If you are trying to, for example, create a new relationship in your life, even if it's a business relationship, that person has to also be manifesting the same things. And you get what's called serendipity. When you meet the love of your life somewhere, that's happening in a divine way through the universe and God and everything that you believe in, because both of you just so happen to be vibrating the same thing. When you get into a car accident, you and the person who hit you or you hit, we're both vibrating that in a day, and that happens all the time. We have all co-created this event. Some blip in the universe would happen if one of us wasn't here. It had to be all of us, and this is how we all manifested it. Okay, so yeah, disclaimer there. So what do you want? So my little quick mantra that I try to fall back to is happy, healthy, wealthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. I think everybody wants those three things. And they're really, really attainable. There is plenty of happiness, health, and wealth in the universe. You don't have to feel guilty for wanting money. And that guilt that you feel about wanting anything that you do want is a limited belief, and that's energy too. So don't do that. You're just not in the right spot to create that or manifest that. If you have guilt about it, you have to fix the guilt first. Let's see. If you haven't yet decided what you want, there's something really interesting that will happen to you, and it's called contrast. So let's say you hear about this new job. It's a new job. It's a nursing job, and it's supposed to be the best, and everybody says it's the best. And instead of thinking in your head, I want to have the best job for me, you say, I want this nursing job. Okay? You screwed that up. So you want this nursing job, and you get this nursing job, and you have it, and your bosses are rude. Everybody you work with sucks. You're miserable. You don't get paid enough. You're standing too much. You realize you don't like blood. You have to pee, and they don't give you bathroom breaks. Whatever. You get there, and because you were just thinking about that nursing job, it wasn't the best thing for you. Focus on how you want to feel when you get there. That's what you have to do. Don't focus on how you will get to that feeling. The how doesn't matter. How you will get there does not matter. You don't know if it will be by train, by plane, or by car. If your vibration is putting out, I want to be happy, I am happy, and you're feeling that feeling and trying to manifest it as hard as you can, it takes about 18 seconds of a focused thought to create more of it. If that's what you're doing, it has to get there somehow. And you don't know if it's going to be this way, or the other. You don't know if you're going to find a suitcase full of $1 million on the street. You don't know. Weirder things have happened, and we'll get there too. I have some interesting personal experiences.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yes.
Have you ever read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself?
No.
It's a really good one. So I just want to tell you this real quick. So this guy, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, how to lose your mind and create a new one or something. But Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. It's about like law of attraction stuff too. And this guy has 2 kids, and they're like in their 20s now or whatever. He's some kind of psychologist or something. And so he's been teaching his kids about this their whole lives, and they've been practicing and whatever. So his daughter was in college, and she decided she wanted to spend her summer. She wanted to spend 6 weeks in Italy, 1 week at each in 6 different cities. She wanted to work for half the summer, make enough money that she could come home and just enjoy her summer without working. And she also wanted to spend one of those weeks in Florence because her friend lives there. So she was like super knew for sure what she wanted. And this was like early in the year. And he was like, okay, like work on manifesting that before the summer comes. And so I guess in the spring, she was like, Dad, there's an opportunity to take art history in Italy. It's going to cost $7,000. I can cover 3 of it. Like, could you help me? And he was like, no, like, you're trying too hard to control it. You're trying to create it, and you're not just like letting it happen. And so like a couple weeks went by or whatever, and she was talking to a professor who, I'm not going to cry, who, they both knew Italian, whatever, they were talking Italian. And she was like, oh, wait, we need somebody who teach level 1 Italian to the students studying in Italy. It's a 6-week thing in 6 different cities and 1 week in Florence, and like literally exactly like what she said she wanted. And like, that was never how she expected to get it, but like she did. Craziness.
It's crazy. The universe will move mountains to give you what you're manifesting. Promise. It will. You just have to have the faith in that, because if you don't have faith, you're projecting doubt, and doubt will give you more reasons to doubt. I won't go and do mediumship for somebody who doesn't believe in me, because I probably will suck, because they're insisting that I will. And if you insist that I'm going to suck at it, then I'm going to suck. That's up to you. You can have a great reading if you want to. And I don't know why anybody would pay me to have a bad one, but sometimes that's the case. And usually I can tell ahead of time, and I don't waste my time on stuff like that, which is kind of the benefit of being clairvoyant. But I always tell people to flip it. That's my terminology, and you'll hear me say that. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you want. You gotta flip it. Don't come home and say, well, today this part of my work sucked. So, okay, but what do you want? Flip it. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a better day because this is going to happen. And this is what I want. I want to make sure I say that. Okay, so how? I'm going to tell you a quick joke. So there's a pastor. He's the pastor of a church, and he loves his church so much, and he has so much faith in God. And for me, in my life, I use words like God and the universe kind of in the same way. Because it makes sense for me to do it that way. That's part of my spiritual background. Anyway, so he is such a strong believer, and he has awesome faith, and there is this huge flood coming. And they're telling him, you have to evacuate, like there's no way. And he says, I have faith that God will pull me through. So he stays put in the church. So the church is filling up with water. And he keeps saying, well, I have faith that God's gonna pull me through this, and I'm gonna be okay. So a lifeboat comes past and says, sir, I think you should come with me because there's a flood and we're evacuating. You should come. And he says, no. I have faith that everything's gonna work out. So they say, are you sure? Like, can I make you? No. So he stays there. So a day later, the waters are rising. He's on the 2nd story, and another lifeboat comes past and says, sir, we really need you to come. Like, this is crazy. You have to come with us. You're going to get trapped in here. You're going to die. Like, you can't stay put in here. He says, no, I have faith. I have ultimate trust that God's going to pull me through. So he doesn't go. So the next day, he's on the roof. He's on the top of the steeple, holding on. And the waters are rising and rising and rising. And a helicopter comes past and lets down the ladder and says, sir, it's okay. We're here. We're here to save you. We're here to save you. He says, no, I have faith that God's going to pull me through. So he drowns. And he gets to heaven, and he says to God, God, I had faith in you. What were you doing? And God said, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What are you doing? And that's law of attraction. You have it in your head that you know how it'll be, or that you'll just be raptured, or something will happen. Who knows? But lifeboats are coming. They're coming because that's what you're vibrating. So stop thinking about how it's going to happen. And I have a really cool, I think, my personal experience has been. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I've never really been a corporate CEO kind of person. It's just not my gig. It's not. I'm too weird. I have too many crystals. They'll kick me out. So it's just not my gig. It's really not. And I tried it, so I can't say I didn't try it. And I tried it and I hated it. And I was doing this 9-to-5 thing because everybody in my life kind of said, this is what you're supposed to do. I had a baby, or I was pregnant when I got hired. And I'm like, I need a desk job. I need benefits. I need a 401k. I have, things I have to do. Beliefs. These are my beliefs and my values. And these are things that have been imposed on me by other people. So I believed that, and I went out and I got that job. And it was an okay job, and I did okay, but I didn't think that I got paid enough, and I hated the schedule, and I missed my daughter so much. And I'm the kind of person, and not everybody is like this, but I really always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And there are some women who think that that's a nightmare, and there are days. But for me, that's always what I wanted. And I wanted to have, financial stability, of course, at the same time. So I got a divorce from that bad relationship that I was in. And I was working this desk job that I hated, and I was out of alignment with myself. I even had brown hair. Like, I don't know what I was doing, but I was all out of whack. It wasn't who I was. It wasn't acting like I was. And I was out of alignment with what my true self is supposed to do, is what I mean when I say that. I'm out of alignment with source energy, is what it, if I finish my sentence. So I just thought to myself, I want to be happy again. I thought, what do you want, Katie? I want to be happy. I want to be financially secure. I want to spend time with my daughter. I want to feel like I have a purposeful existence. I don't want a desk job. I don't want to go 9 to 5 every day to RIDC Park and do this. It wasn't what I didn't want. I started to think about what I wanted. And I sat on my porch and I saw, this was in my old Oakmont apartment, I saw a single paper lantern go up in the sky. It was an evening. There's only one. And I thought, Mommy, is that you? What are you saying? And I walked into work the next morning and they let me go. And I was so happy. I was so happy because I have faith that the universe is going to do what's best for me. And this was how my how was unfolding. I know that I don't know how it will go. But I knew that my vibration was nothing but happiness. It was more time with my daughter. It was financial stability. It was all of these things. And I know it sounds counterproductive, but I had ultimate faith that it was going to work out. So I was on unemployment for a little bit, and that was okay. And everybody around me was like, Kate, you have a baby. You have to go get a job. You have to, where's your resume? Like, what are you doing? And I didn't put one together because I didn't want to. And it wasn't, I just knew that it was going to work out anyways. And I miraculously met my fiance, and the first night that we started dating, he said, yeah, I don't think you should go back to work. Why don't you just stay home with your daughter? So.
I'm sorry, did you say that was the first night you were dating? He said that?
Yes. I know, he's a keeper.
Hey, brother.
He is the man of my dreams, and I manifested him too in a very, very, very literal way, which I can tell you that story when we get there too. So how does it matter? Everybody around me was, hurry up, get a job, and imposing these things on me, and it didn't make sense. I knew because it felt bad. I was exhausted doing that. I was burnt out. That's how you know you're not in the right place. You have to listen to yourself. And being self-aware is 99% of law of attraction too, because if you don't even know what you're thinking about on a regular basis, name one thought you had today. You have to kind of you're like, oh, be aware of that, because that's how you can start to change it. You have to start paying attention first to what you're even thinking of. And once you do start to pay attention, you're going to be like, that's the other thing. Like, wow, I did that to myself, didn't I? Because you'll start to see how it unfolds for you. So a good analogy is to picture a radar screen. So you're this close to your radar screen, and you're looking, you kind of get tunnel vision, and you're like, that's what I want, okay? And as you start to step back, there's so many more possibilities to get to where you want. And sometimes you just have to step back from your radar screen so you can see the bigger picture. I wanted financial stability. That didn't mean I wanted a job. Most people would say, you want a job if you say I want financial stability. That's not what it meant for me. I wanted to be a mom, and I do have a job, but it's not really about that. It's just kind of because I really like this stuff, and I like being around you guys too. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's talk about how to manifest. This is some of the good stuff. So this is something that doesn't get talked about enough too. And that's why I teach these seminars, is your sweet spot. We're going to talk about what that means. So let's say you want to manifest abundance or financial security, et cetera, something with money. Do you believe that from where you sit right now at this table, in the next 1 year, you will make $1 million? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But probably most of us don't. And if you don't believe it, it's not in your sweet spot. Don't try to make that leap, okay? Because your belief has energy too. And your values have energy too, okay? So if you're in a committed relationship with somebody right now and you're married and you live together, then tomorrow will you have the man of your dreams that's somebody else? No, probably not. That's not in your sweet spot. So getting things into your sweet spot, sometimes you have to take a few steps. Make them manageable for yourself. That's why we set really broad goals when we set like our affirmations and the things that we want, when we script out our thoughts, which is something that we'll talk about too. Focus on the little things, and then what happens is that you start to snowball, okay? Because especially with money, so just as for example, I went really hard on the money end of it when I started studying law of attraction, as I think a lot of us, you probably will do. That's a really fun thing to attract, in my opinion. Yeah, I kept finding money on the floor, in coat pockets, stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But it upped my belief in it, because I'm like, it's happening. Like, it's working, you know? And I was working in a restaurant when I first started to study this stuff, and I'm not kidding you, I had $300 tips in 1 month. And they were from great customers who tipped me well. So it wasn't that unbelievable for that to happen to me, but it was still pretty sweet. So it started to snowball and snowball and snowball. And then I got a check from a medical company because I overpaid on a medical bill for $2,000. Just in the mail. I didn't even do anything. Just came in the mail. I didn't have a job. Okay, came in the mail. Then some life insurance policy that my mom had that I didn't even know she had, nobody knew she had, sent me a check with that $7,000. See how we're increasing in dollar values? And this is probably my favorite one. I had a step grandma that I didn't even know existed in Alaska. She passed away before I was born, and she owned a piece of property in Alaska. And 30 years after she passed away, I guess I was an heir on it. I didn't even know. And I got a check in the mail for $35,000. You don't know how. Step grandma from Alaska. You don't know how. You don't know how. Stop thinking about how. I didn't have a job. That's the thing. I didn't have a job. Everybody said, you have to get a job, financial security. Stop with that. Maybe that's the way. Maybe that is the way. And I'm not saying that that's a bad way either. And if you are happy and in alignment with that job, more power to you. That's the best way to do it. And if you own your own company, even better, because you do feel more limitless, you know, because there's no ceiling. So I would encourage you all to pursue no ceilings endeavors if you want to take it to the top levels, of course. And yes.
So just kind of using your example, how do you, when you're talking about sweet spot, so I in my mind have always said there's out there somewhere some Uncle Pennybags that is really going to bring me some cash, it's going to bring me back cash. I've always said that. And it's something that I say enough that people are like, oh, here we go again.
Right.
But how do you know where the line is between silly fantasy and actual reality?
Oh, I think go for the fantasy. I think always push it. Always. There's no harm in thinking too far, as long as it doesn't bring you a guilty feeling or a bad feeling. Pay attention to the way you feel as you think these thoughts. And if you feel silly, maybe you'll get something silly. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's the way you're feeling when you're thinking it is the way you will feel when however it's going to happen happens to you. So that's kind of what you want to pay attention to. And I would just go for it, you know. I think start snowballing, start finding money. There's a gentleman that I read a ton of his stuff. He's amazing. I think he might be Jesus. Like, I'm like convinced he might be. He's pretty cool. His name is Peter Ragnar, and he's in his 70s. He's awesome. He's a vegan bodybuilder. I think I told you about him.
You did. I follow him now.
He's amazing. So there are books written about him. Okay. And he has been known to open up his wallet and pull money out that wasn't there moments before. This is kind of higher level stuff. There are a few books that talk about like what happens to our souls after we're in this body, and like we're all limitless. We have created limits because we're humans and we have physical bodies and physical limitations like gravity or etc. But we didn't have bodies, we wouldn't have limits. And I think there's some people who can like just do really special stuff. And he's one of them. And he's on Facebook, and you can see him. He's very positive and very awesome, and he like knows all the best weird mushrooms to take for longevity and like, cool stuff. I think it's neat. So he's somebody to look at too. But he is also a millionaire, you know, and he lives like a really peaceful, happy life in nature, and has like the cutest wife ever, Katrina, and they just do whatever they want and travel, and everything that they ever wanted to do, they just manifest, you know. And that's awesome. And I've said too that there's, even in this presentation, that there aren't really any gurus that haven't had like an accident or something happen, you know, in your life. Everybody kind of has some stuff, and that's your contrast. That's showing you what you don't want. That's going to happen. You know, sometimes you have an experience like that, just to help you really narrow it in and focus on what you do. And he's had some of that too. And that's why I like him too, is because he's more real, makes it more tangible. I can't take the people on, you know, the seminar videos that are like, everything, like it's not, that's, you know, mostly sure, but everybody has had a moment. So give yourself some room also is what I'm saying.
Can I share something?
Yes.
Weird?
No.
I'm like just enamored with everything you're saying, and the entire time I'm sitting here thinking about a good friend of mine who is a little bit down right now. The entire time my mind has been on Lauren and how she, like, I have chills right now and I'm gonna cry. She just texted me and said, thinking about you. I've never had a friend like you. Like, we're connecting right now through this. This is so weird.
So let me tell you
I'm
too.
sorry.
No,
Like,
that's,
I just, like,
I'm so glad you said that.
overcome.
That's so awesome. So remember how I said that our brains are transmitters and receivers, and everything, including our thoughts, are made up of energy, and all the energy vibrates at a different frequency. So telepathy.
Just stop.
Please, you know me. Of course I'm crying.
Right. 1 minute in, and usually. Telepathy is a thing because our brains are transmitting and receiving, and if you can get out of the same frequency as another person, and you do that when you think about them, then they can hear your thoughts. But the thing is that it sounds like your own thought. So like you and your husband, when you finish their sentence, or you and your children, when you kind of know what they're saying, it's because you're vibrating at the same frequency and you're actually literally hearing each other's thoughts. You just can't separate what's yours and what's theirs. But that happens. And when you get a collective group that's all working on the same thing, it's called a mastermind. But yeah, that's awesome. And it'll keep happening. And the higher your frequency goes on your own, the happier you become, the quicker you'll be able to do that stuff. And that's when it gets cool. Because then you can start saying to your girlfriend, okay, think of a color. And then you're like, indigo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, weirdly, like you can just pick up on stuff. It's fun. Awesome. Yeah. The other thing that happens too, and I should talk about this in your brain. So you have, they're called neural pathways in your brain. And if there are any sciencey medical people in here, they might have a better explanation for this. So neural pathways is like, so you're driving home from work in your home. And you weren't consciously thinking, I made a left here and a right there, and this is a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, and blah, blah, blah. Because you have a neural pathway in your brain that has become hardened. It's your brain telling your body what to do. It's that nerve pathway. And you don't have to like really think about it. So you have neural pathways probably going the wrong directions right Your brain telling your body to maybe do the wrong thing. Your brain telling your mouth to say the wrong things that are what you don't want. Wrong is my interpretation, not wrong, but you understand what I'm saying. So when you start to change your thought, you have to rebuild those neural pathways, and that takes time. So give yourself some grace. And the more conscious you are about it, the more you'll be able to really shift that. And then you'll become unconsciously competent with it. You won't even have to think about it. You'll just be on the positive end, no matter what. And people like Peter Ragnar, he would never say, oh, my kids have ear infections and blah, 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 the same way that I do on occasion too, because his neural pathways are different. And he'll only talk about the good stuff because he's taught himself in his brain how to do that. So it's kind of cool stuff. Okay.
Is he from Pittsburgh?
No. He's on Mystic Mountain.
We have a mutual friend. That's weird.
Is it me?
Marissa McCallum.
Oh, really?
I know her.
I know her too.
I just created this situation. Wait, this is a good teaching. Okay. So she used to have a crush on my fiance.
He's cute.
Thanks. I agree. And a lot of other women feel like that. And she did something that I didn't really like. And she is bold and just tried to add me on Instagram. And I made the mistake, and here I am again, but it's a learning experience. I said something to Mike about it, and I was like, and he's like, stop. Don't even say anything about her because then she'll appear.
Right there. Wow. How weird is that?
So weird. Like, that's so random.
Not to pass judgment on somebody. That was my experience about her. But
that she just appeared.
But
Yeah.
that was,
That's
hilarious.
not judgment or anything.
No.
It is what it is. That's great.
Okay. So we're getting into where I can talk about some of my experiences here. So, okay, exciting stuff for you. In 2.5 weeks, we're moving. The house that we are in currently is in the right area, but the wrong street. And it was like, we paid, and I'm going to tell you a little about my life here. We paid $85,000 for it. And it's an $85,000 house. It's 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms. There's nothing wrong with it. I have a tiny yard. It's on a busy street. Can't stand that. So in October, me and Mike sat down and we made a list of what we wanted in our next house. And this is going to be our forever house. I wanted 5 bedrooms. We have 3 kids. We wanted 5 bedrooms, at least 2.5 bathrooms. I wanted to have a huge flat yard in the back, and I wanted it to back up to the woods. This is every woman's dream, probably. I wanted a beautiful finished kitchen, a back deck, a place for a hot tub, 2-car garage that was integral, and have it be on a really quiet street. So we wrote this huge list, a few more things maybe on there, in October. And in 2 weeks, we're moving into that house. And again, I don't have a job, okay? This house we paid $369,000 for. So we're going from, we just moved last May into our $85,000 house. And in 1 year, we took one big jump, and I don't work. Because we're thinking the right way. We're a unit, Mike and I, and it's a co-creation that these things are happening. But I tell you these things not to brag and not to be anything. I didn't do any of it. He really did it, for the most part. He's manifesting the money more so, but I'm having a hand in that too. And we're doing these things really, really quickly. And it's because our thoughts are in the right place. We're not in our house talking about our house or talking about the problems or the water in the basement. We're in our house talking about our next house because that's where we're going. And it's funny too, because I had seen the listing for our house like a few times, and I had it saved on Zillow in, some fantasy land, thinking like, oh, this will never happen. And then a month or 2 ago, we had a big step financially. So we started looking again, and Mike was like, how about this one? I'm like, that's funny because that one's been saved, on there forever. And I said, let's look at what it has. And it matched up completely perfectly with the list. So boom. And I also said we wanted a fast closing, and we put our offer in, I think, January 26th, and we're moving in 2 weeks. So that's the other thing that happens fast. Okay. So when I met Mike too, and this is fun because he's so cute. I had been on a kind of breakup and on a rampage for a quick minute because I had broken up with my boyfriend of 3 years and I was pissed off and I got cheated on me and I was like on a rampage. So my girlfriends were like, we're taking you out. So I was at IUP at the time and we go into the Coney where we all worked together as waitresses. Oh, really? That's where I live in Indiana now. Yeah. So I said to my girlfriend, if I could just, I want to meet a 6'1", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, well put together man, and I want him to be older than me by about 6 years, so he has together. And I'm like, you know, saying all this stuff, I'm just being silly. So then he walks in the bar. I mean, he was exactly to a T what I could have been in my wildest dreams. I mean, he is cute too. And he's looking at me and I'm like, I'm gonna turn into Jell-O. Like, I can't even believe it. I can hardly believe it. So we started talking and he said, you know what's funny is that I was going on a date with somebody else tonight and I just decided to come in here on a whim. And I'm like, that is funny. And he's like, it's funny too because I had texted my friend. I said, if I could just meet this 5'4", blonde-haired girl with a nice figure, maybe a couple years younger than me, wouldn't that be nice? And this, I mean, I couldn't make this up, but it happened. And here we are. And we're moving into our dream house that has, you know, everything that I could have ever asked for. And I tell you these things again because I'm applying the things that I'm teaching you. Don't listen to people who don't have what you want. Maybe I don't have all the things that you want, and maybe you want more than what I have. And that's wonderful. Everybody wants different things in their life. But you have to figure out what you want so you can start thinking about what you want so you can get there. And when you're starting to manifest, there are some things that you can do to kind of help that process to facilitate. So it takes 18 seconds of a focused thought to return more, 18 seconds. And a lot of people try to focus on those thoughts during meditation. But there are little things that you could do. You can write them in your planner, something that you look at all the time. Write it on your hand, you know, just one word or something that triggers like an affirmation for you. And when you word your affirmations, be careful not to talk about what you don't want. And be careful not to talk about how you'll get there, okay? Don't say you want a job, is what I'm saying. Or don't say you want this job. Or I want to get promoted. That's great. I want more money. I want this dollar value amount. Try to keep it a little more broad, okay? Because if you're thinking about that promotion, you could get there and it could suck. Think about why you want that promotion. How will it make you feel when you get there? You want to feel successful and empowered. You want to feel all those things. Another thing that you want to make sure you're doing is you don't say, I want this, okay? You say, I have this. Because when you're wanting things, your vibration is of longing. I want this. And it's almost of lack. So you want to almost visualize yourself there. That's the best way to manifest.
Can I tell you something again?
Yes.
I wanted to say this before and I forgot. So in The Secret, they talk about like saying that you're your perfect weight and not like, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. So I was like doing really good on like my 30-day challenge. And I like hit this like plateau. And this was also when I was freaking out about money. It was this whole situation. I was like, had like a real serious breakdown. And after that, I was like reading The Secret and it said that. So I started focusing on like my perfect weight, what that looks like for me, and like really thinking about that. And I like kept saying that I've also been talking to myself like a crazy person now, like, and it's crazy how like that's real and that works. But I lost 3 pounds in 2 days. Like as soon as I decided that like,
how about it?
I'm going to look the way that I want to look and not like I need to lose weight. And it's been just like,
right.
Yeah.
There's a really good book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Yeah, we keep that one by the potty because that's a good one to reference. I'm going to give you a list of some books to check out too at the end. And most of them you've probably heard of.
Hey, how do we get in touch with you in your office?
So my website,
That too.
you can totally text me. I'm not a person that's like, oh, who is this? I will respond and like it. Because I'm at home all day. I only have like 4 minutes. Right. I like have kids to talk to all day, so like I'm like adults. Yeah, so do that, and please do because it's fun for me. Okay, when you're manifesting, other things, tips, tricks, etc. So we all have heard of like a rosary bead necklace where you say a prayer for each bead and you move through. So there's something called a mala necklace that most of you have probably heard of too. And this is like a Buddhist based idea, principle. I just read today that Buddhism is more than just a religion, it's actually a practice, just like you practice yoga. And I thought that was a really cool thing. But anyways, so with your mala necklace, and some of them are made out of crystals, and if you're looking for crystals for manifestation, there's one called Tiger's Eye, and there's one called Citrine, and those are my top two favorites. They're both yellow.
You told me to get them. I still haven't gotten it.
I know, and then I got into the accident and I didn't go to the event that I was going to go to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with the crystal chick. But she's on Facebook, and I'll put you in touch with her. She's cute. If you just ask her what she has, she'll just like send you a picture. She's now like an online store. So when you go through, you can say your affirmation on the mala, and it will make you say it 108 times, and I promise that will take you more than 18 seconds. Okay, so if you do that once a day, great. If you do it 10 times a day, great. Mike and I have done some weird things. Like, for example, one time he really decided that he wanted this Mercedes. He's hilarious. We changed our mind on what we wanted. But I bought him a toy one, like a little remote controlled one, and we had it on the desk. And he was looking at it all the time, and we saw them everywhere. And then they were for sale, and then Big Brother was on our computer with ads, and the whole thing. It was like hilarious. So we got really close to that one. It didn't actually end up happening, but do stuff like that. Surround yourself with it. If you are manifesting money, what are you going to spend it on? Go shop for those things, even if you're not buying it. Go look at Nordstrom's website and pick out your Louboutins if that's what you're going to buy with your money, or go test drive a new Jag or whatever. But submerge yourself in that as much as possible and try to make you feel the way that you would feel when you receive it. What else? General raising of your vibration will help. Also will help in manifesting. And there are lots and lots and lots of different ways to raise your vibration. You can detoxify your home with your doTERRA products that you have. Get rid of Lysol. Get rid of bleach chemicals that are harmful for your system, because when your body is busy fighting off those things, it's not really having as much fun as it could. So that's a good way to do it. Detoxify the people you hang out with. Stop texting back the people that suck your energy, your mother-in-law, whoever it is. Don't talk to them. Cut them out. Cut that out of your life too. That's just as toxic. And like attracts like. Again, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Okay. So a few things like that. Now, book list. So number one book on law of attraction is called Ask and It Is Given. It's by Esther, Esther, and Jerry Hicks. They are wonderful, and if you read anything they wrote, you would love it. They're law of attraction experts, so that's number one. Number two, Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. That's more of a businessy one. And these are very old. That's a really old book. Okay, he's talking about Henry Ford in that book, who he knew personally. A really good shorter book that is a good, like, put it next to the potty is called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I'm medium on The Secret. I liked it, but it didn't blow my mind. But that's, if you want to watch a documentary, there's one for you. Anything by Peter Ragnar, anything at all. And some of his books are really hard to find. And some of them are actually written about him and not by him. And then there is a series on YouTube that you can find. It didn't used to be on YouTube, but now it is. It's called Your Wish is Your Command. And there's 16 hour-long videos on YouTube. It's an audio. not a video. There's nobody talking. You don't see anything. But when you're long distance driving, play that and listen. That was a game changer for me. The guy who made it, his name is Kevin Trudeau. It's like Trudeau. It's like French or something. That was a mind blowing. If you can somehow, figure out your computer and like put them on CDs so that you can stop and start at the same spot and listen to them all together, that'll teach you a lot. It's 16 hours worth of information better. And I think that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Does anybody have questions about anything?
Did you say there was a documentary on The Secret?
Yes, on Netflix.
Have you seen it?
I haven't.
I keep hearing it's like really weird. I kind of like don't even want to watch
It is
it because like, yeah.
Weird how, like off-putting?
Just weird, like too out there.
It's a little out there from when I started it like 10 times because I'm like, I should really watch this because my clients ask me about it all the time and I haven't watched the whole thing. But for whatever reason, I can't give more than a couple minutes into it. Just a little different.
It's
My husband won't read at all for the life of me. And like, I really like want him to watch this with me, but we haven't yet.
And some people love it because they're visual people, so they like it. So if you don't read, watch it. But
I would look at, so Esther Hicks has a ton of audios and YouTube videos. You can find a lot of her stuff on YouTube too. So if you're somebody who likes to watch videos, check out some of her seminars. And you can follow Abraham Hicks on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll wait till you figure out what that is.
I feel like
Abraham has switched channels. She's awesome. I love her so much. Jerry passed away. Her husband that wrote with her, Ask and It Is Given. But that book is 15 at least years old now too. And there's a ton more. And when you go on Amazon, it's going to suggest a whole bunch and read them all. Read everything you can get your hands on. It makes it, because everything's going to hit a person at a different way. What worked best for me was Ask and It Is Given, As Man Thinketh, and Your Wish Is Your Command. Those were my top 3. But I couldn't say any of this without the Law of Success either, or, a half a dozen more. I've been reading this stuff for forever. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. Good, that's good.
So as a clairvoyant,
Mhm.
do you think that perhaps people get caught in these negative traps, so to speak, because of past life experiences, or just their vibrations are kind of set where they are as a result of something perhaps beyond their control? Just curious.
Yes. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with Reiki too, to like help reset your barometer on some of that, because some of your neural pathways are coming from past lives, subsequent lives is how I prefer to refer to them, because there's no such thing as time beyond this universe. Yeah, so I think that there's absolutely an effect on that. But I haven't seen anybody, I've never met in my personal life, anybody who couldn't overcome that. So I think that what you believe on a high level, you get. Anything, let me read this to you. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring himself to believe, he can achieve. That's Napoleon Hill. That's the Law of Success. Anything that the mind of man can believe or conceive and bring himself to believe, he can achieve. And that's the truth. So if you believe you can fly, and you believe that, and you really, really, really believe that, then maybe you can. If you really, really, and if you can really get aligned with that, then great. But if you're 5'2" and you want to be in the NBA, maybe you can't believe that. Maybe that's just not believable for you. It's not in your sweet spot. It's a little harder to get there, And it's not impossible. There are people that have done it, and who am I to say? And don't let anything I say negatively impact your values or your beliefs. I want you to feel as limitless as possible. And that's how you'll have the best results, in my opinion.
So like I think about like my clients. I'm a mental health and drug and alcohol therapist too. If you guys don't know that. And like, I see it all the time. Like, of course you don't believe you can. Nobody else ever in your life has ever graduated high school. Why would you believe that you can?
Right.
And it's very hard. That's why I'm like really having a hard time with therapy more now so than ever, because I can't stay with these people anymore. And that's my job, is to like stay there with them, and I can't. But like, even people in my everyday life, like my friends, who like I want them to believe that they can be more, have more, do more too. Like, how do you like, or do you just,
How do you overcome that?
how do I teach them?
Well, right, and it's through example, and that's why I give you my personal examples too. I have been on food stamps in my life, in my not so recent past,
Yeah.
even. And now I'm moving into a 3,200 square foot house in a matter of just a couple years.
Yeah.
Things, you know, things change all the time. Mike went from making, I don't know, $18,000 in a year to making $196,000 last year, and this year he has a goal for $1 million. So, and that's possible for him because he is limitless, in my opinion. And he just went to Scotland and studied in a castle. Talk about changing your beliefs with a billionaire. That's where he was when I got into my accident, actually. And I was all pooped out and feeling like lonely and like a damsel and whatever, because he was gone doing this thing. And my stinking thinking got me feeling a lot more like a damsel than I had intended. But it happens fast. That's how you snowball. So I just had to stop, flip it, and now I'm going to get a new car, so it ends up working okay, you know. And I wanted one anyways, so it's fine, and it's all going to be taken care of, and I'm totally fine. So it wasn't even that. It could have been a lot worse, you know, and it wasn't. But you can make these huge leaps. I got a check from my step grandma. It's just, you know, and I didn't even know. It's just hearing more about it, reading more stories about it, and in that, Your Wish is Your Command, he has a few stories that he tells in there that are kind of cool too. And you can find proof of it everywhere. But I think that once you start to pay attention to the way you think and then the way you feel throughout your day, you're going to see how you're writing the script. And then you're going to do things, make shifts, and change, because why not? You know, now that you know the secret, you might as well use it instead of just being, I can't stand, you know, I was a survivor of domestic violence related things. And, you know, you're a victim. You're a victim of that. Oh, somebody did that to you. They did it to you. Does that feel good to hear? Nobody wants to be a victim. I am powerful. I am a powerful creator. And I pick and choose what comes into my life moving forward, you know, because I'm aware of it now. And that's what you do. That's how you flip it. And there's some really good affirmations that I should tell you too. So here's a good one. Money comes easily and plentifully to me. I used to use, and this is when I was working, because I'm hilarious. Oh, wait a second. So when I was in my 9-to-5 that I didn't like, I used to say that I wanted to do the minimal amount of work and get the maximal return in dollar value. And that was kind of a mantra that I would say at my desk because I didn't want to be making the phone calls I was making. So I would get like a bunch of really good deals. I was doing recruiting. I would get a big deal and make $5,000, and then I would just like Facebook for a while because that's what I was doing. But I kept my head above water kind of with that affirmation. What is meant for me will never miss me. Good one. But not never. Like what's meant for me will get to me. People that I'm supposed to meet will find me. I am limitless. I am enough. All of those shorter ones are good ones for your mala necklace. My body is at its physical premium for myself. My body is at my physical peak at all times. I heal quickly and effortlessly. I'm constantly reminded by the people that I love how much they love me. Things like that. Get crazy too.
Wait, I need you to say that one again.
I'm constantly reminded by the people that I love they love me. Love your bracelet.
Thanks.
Yellow. I manifest easily and deliberately, and I stay aware of my thoughts throughout the day. Those are all good ones too, as you get started. But play with the wording. Don't say something the way I would say it. Say it the way you would say it, because then it makes more sense, you know? Use words that you use. Make it authentic. I am intuitive. I know my purpose is. I stay in alignment. I'm calm. I like that one. I'm calm. I have to say that more. I'm secure. I'm safe. All of those ones are good too. Yeah. So if you're into chakras, this is all dealing with your root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. Its color is red. You can use On Guard topically on your root chakra to help with that. Clove, rosemary are all good herbs. Eat root vegetables will help you manifest. Silly stuff. Salads, go outside more, will help you manifest because you're healing that chakra, that energy system that deals with safety, and safety deals with money. And a lot of your manifestation comes from there. The other part comes from your solar plexus, which is at the base of your ribs. Color is yellow, and that's your I do energy. And that's again saying, don't miss two boats in a helicopter, okay? Because when the how presents itself, you can't just say, well, I have faith. You know, nobody who sat there like this in an own position made $1 million. They worked their butts off to get there, and they just knew what opportunities to take. This information is best received in a coaching one-on-one, so you can work on scripting your own goals. So if that is something that you're interested in, we can talk. And if you want to get a reading, we can talk too, because I do that. And I just did the coolest reading on Friday. It made me think of yours. It was just a really good one. This chick was hilarious, and she's like, I could tell she was just thinking about something. I'm like, she's thinking about her dog, and her dog has a lump on the left side of its belly, and she's so worried about it. So I just spit it out finally, even though it was like something kind of silly to say in a meeting. And she just burst into tears. She's like, I was really hoping you were going to pick up on that because I was so worried about him. And I'm like, he just needs a little coconut oil in his diet. Like, he's going to be all right. But like, of all the silly things, that's me being a transmitter and a receiver. She was transmitting that, and I was receiving it. And I could tune into that and really see what was going on. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, keep in touch with me, text me, call me, anything. I'm not scary, I'm not weird. I am in Indiana, PA, so I'm about an hour east of Monroeville, but I still have tons of family and friends in like the Pittsburgh area, so I'm here frequently. If you need anything. Yeah.
She came to my house 3 weekends in a row, so.
I did. And it was awesome.
Slash my mom's.
Yeah, it was super fun. Super duper fun. Well, thanks for having me, everybody.
Great, thank
Yeah.
Bye, Christine.